Donald Trump let me, an average American citizen, go to his house 3 times.
Okay, do you...
What does that have to do with the prompt, you? Yo, did she Trump? What is this? What the, bro? Joe Biden won't let me into his house. Donald Trump did 3 times.
Bragg. And he would not talk about that. Alvin Bragg ran on getting Trump. Let's talk about Judge Merchant's daughter, Laura, who's making millions for the Harris administration and the Biden administration right now in order to prosecute Trump. That is recusal. It's going to get dropped at the Supreme Court. Alvin Bragg should have recused himself. Judge Merchant should have recused himself.
I like your power. My next claim is Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people.
I feel like these guys understood that, like, if they run out the clock, it just seems like they won.
I completely disagree with you on that. That Trump doesn't, you're saying he doesn't care about the American people. I mean, while he was president, he was pushing pro-economic policies, which were furthering the American economy. I mean, right now, if you go to a gas station, you're paying more money to fill up your car. Going to the grocery store, you're paying more for meat, you're paying more for groceries, you're paying more for a lot of things. Taxes are higher right now. So
Wait,
why
taxes are higher right now? We're still under Donald Trump's tax code.
We're not completely, no, that's not true. That's not true. Because
What the fuck's this guy? He doesn't know anything, bro. Republicans literally just operate on vibes, dude. I swear to God. Like, oh my God, to the mines with you. Holy, send this to the countryside, brother. Oh my God, you need to do some learning, dog. Seriously, it's just like, what are you saying, bro? What are you saying? What are you saying? Why are they debating with Spider-Man? He's somehow whiter than Tom Holland. I don't know how that happened.
each individual state can impose their own taxes.
Federal
I'm
taxes
going to
from the
give you an example. In Los Angeles County, they passed all these other measures, increasing quarter-cent sales tax here in Los Angeles County. And what do they?
Wait, what? That has nothing to do with that. What? That has nothing to do with, like, federal tax policy, man. What the? You think, like, voting for Donald Trump is going to cast that aside? Bro said local taxes increased. Like, what are you saying? I was waiting for him to talk about the mansion tax because I love some guy who does not live in a $5 million house or is never going to purchase a $5 million house chirping about the mansion tax in Los Angeles. Okay.
Do with the money? They misuse the money. They don't even use it to fix the streets. They allocate all this funding towards the homeless, billions of dollars, saying they're going to build all these shelters. They're going to build public housing, and yet all the money goes to administrative costs. It goes into the pension system. So they're misusing the money. They're not,
yeah, I hate putting money in the pension system.
Not using the money to actually help people. So if you think about someone that's going to help people, Democrats have been promising people in the state of California that they're going to do something about the problem. Yet they have unlimited power here to do whatever they want. But yet we have thousands of homeless. The LA Times reported that there was 66,000 more homeless.
By the way, Jubilee is on crack for having people like this on. Congressional candidates seeking to oust Maxine Waters ordered back to jail for a restraining order because Omar Navarro threatened lives of Lorraine's cat and her grandmother. Like, what the fuck is Jubilee doing, bro? This man's got like an... I guess it's hard. It's hard for any institution to find like normal Republicans who are going to defend Republican positions on camera. You know, it's like you want to do a debate, you got to bring in Republicans to the debate. And obviously it's very difficult to find one that hasn't, like, you know, raped or stalked someone. What are you going to do? College students versus hog fascists. College nerd versus fascist
people
hog.
in the last 7 years. That's the LA Times. That's a liberal magazine quoted. There's 66,000 more homeless people in Los Angeles County.
Mind if I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So I've like a lot of reasons I'd like to bring up here why I'd say that Trump doesn't care about the American people, but you referenced his economic policy, and we could reference that. So yeah, can you name like one economic policy that Donald Trump influenced to get passed that benefited the low and the middle class more than it benefited the top 1%?
Well, first of all, the Democrats pass all these policies.
Wait.
1% is America too. Say it. They're jobs creators. Dude, what happened? At least back in the day, like, the William F. Buckleys of the world, who were also bloodless fascists, just like these clown asses are, knew the talking points. Okay, the talking point here, he can't do it. It's making me mad. Okay, I can do a better job. All right, I'm gonna put my Trump Republican hat on. Okay, hold on. First of all, I'll have you know that these are some of the most productive Americans. Why do you hate business? Why do you hate thriving and prospering? That's the American dream, goddammit. The Trump Republican Party fixed the economy, put us on a pathway to success for all Americans until Kamala Harris, with her communist policies as the borders are, destroyed this country. You like to hate the 1%, but they are the people that run this country. They are the people that they are jobs creators, small business owners. Why do you hate businesses? I bet you want to burn down your local Target, don't you, goddamn libtard?
Just about Donald Trump, can you name one policy he influenced to get passed that benefits the low and the middle class more than it benefited the top 1%?
Yeah, he tried to, or during COVID, he tried to keep businesses open. I mean, Democrats were trying to close down all their states.
Can you name a policy?
Businesses that they put, no. They put a lot of businesses out of business during COVID. During the past years that COVID was in existence, all the states that were liberal, Democrat-run states, have controlled a lot of the process here in the state of California.
Okay.
Like, I'll give you an example.
You didn't answer my. I'm so sorry.
In the state of California, Gavin
Newsom
shut down this state. Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, state of California during COVID had an $80 billion budget deficit, dog. Shut the f up, okay? Now, you can speak to the brother, what a ridiculous argument. Oh, my, a budget surplus. Did I say deficit? I apologize. See, I'm operating. I put the Trump hat on automatically. I say the exact opposite of reality. You see this? I put the hat on and immediately, I'm just saying the opposite of the truth, okay?
Did not shut down his state. Yet you have businesses here that were small, that went out of business. Yet you have the state of Florida, the majority of businesses stayed in business, did not go out of business. The only businesses that went out of business, that stayed in business, were corporations like McDonald's, Burger King, and Walmart.
Okay,
so,
sir, with all due respect, you literally didn't answer my question.
The Democrats were benefiting those businesses because they were voting in favor of them.
Okay, with all due respect, you literally didn't answer my question. I asked you to name a policy that Trump influenced to get passed that
benefited. But yeah, you're the one that called me earlier, so I'm supposed to answer you?
Okay, well, I mean, if you don't want to have...
Yes, that's the whole point of this process, because now we've moved on from, like, yeah, that's a totally irrelevant point now. Defend the argument, please. Well, you called me earlier, so... Yeah, that was earlier.
Have a productive dialogue with me here. I don't see what your point of even showing up to the episode would be.
Well, productive is not calling someone either, right?
Yeah, you know that does not think of himself as a Latino Cuban man in the way that he used that as a deflective shield, in the way that he got offended by the allegations that he definitely is, by the way. That's white guy behavior, dog. Everybody knows it. Okay.
Cool. Howdy. Hi.
George.
So maybe we could go about it this way. Can I give you my reasons why I'd say that he doesn't care about the American people and get your thoughts?
Let me, if you don't mind, let me start.
Okay.
Is honestly...
Bro, the Republican attitude is just running the clock until the top of the hour ad break comes, by the way. I'm noticing something here. They literally are just like, nah, shut up, my turn, okay? Their whole point, their process is just filibustering, okay? They're filibustering some... At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break, like I said. That was a good-ass segue, and I'm not going to let it slide, okay? Now, if you no longer want to see those ads, well, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $4.20 or for free with Twitch Prime, which you can get by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Here's the 3-minute ad break. Now, you can also get gifted a sub, and Twitch is also matching gifts in the sub all day. I don't really know what's happening there, but September, baby.
The questions, the statements. Because it's one-sided and it's an opinion on what we think he believes or he feels.
So this prompt says Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people. I would like to give you my reason.
Well, I'll actually answer the other thing you mentioned. A policy that Donald Trump pushed for that benefited low and middle income people.
More than it benefited the top 1%.
His tax policies. And I know this for a fact because I'm middle low income. And everyone I know that's middle or low income, actually, I don't know that many. Everyone makes more money than me.
Okay. Do you mind if I...
No. The only people I know of that complain about Trump's tax policies are those that make a reasonably high amount of money. There is nobody I know that makes over like 200 something K that doesn't complain about his tax policy. So I don't know what you make doing this. It's probably more than I make. I kind of wish I did what you do to a degree. But if you're making more than 200K, then I'm sure you can complain, but I'm benefiting and I make less than you probably.
Okay, so first of all, you said that Trump's tax policy benefited the low and middle class more than it benefited rich people. Mm-hmm. That claim is false. 83% of the tax cuts in the bill went to the top 1%, went to people making over $400,000 a year, and it cost the American taxpayer $1.9 trillion through debt-related spending, and it only is going to lead to an average annual GDP increase of 0.02%. Please allow me to finish, right? So it is the case that no, that didn't benefit the low and the middle class more so than the top 1%. It only is leading to a greater income inequity.
I don't believe you, and I don't agree with you, and I've seen no data to support that.
Okay, so that's coming from the Tax Policy Foundation. That's coming from other economic sources that we would find online to be able to distribute how much it costs.
Oh, I don't believe you. Okay, then. Well, I guess we can't have a conversation. Like, what do you mean? He literally said, "Well, I'm low income and it helped me." Okay, but the prompt is it helped rich people a lot more. Okay, which by the way, it didn't help you. Your taxes are going to increase again because he sunsetted all the tax cuts that anyone that is not under the top marginal tax bracket was going to receive by 2025. But like, this is why this is an effort that is ultimately futile, because the answer from your interlocutors is, nah, I don't believe you. I think these are people who are just very sad and lonely, and they just want to have someone listen to them. Like, a lot of the Republican Party's major grievances revolve around the fact that, like, they're kind of annoying. Like, the Republican voters are kind of annoying and therefore don't have a lot of people in their lives. So they just want someone to listen. That's it. Same as me. Don't say that.
Okay. So is it all right? I'd say he doesn't care about the American people?
In 10 seconds or less.
Okay. Well, I mean, I feel like in order to like have productive dialogue, right, we have to be able to distinguish like why I believe the things.
No, don't get caught up in her trap. She's trying to goad you into, triggering you, so Deborah can call you a libtard,
That I say.
Okay, and then I'll let you know why I believe the things that I do.
Okay, so the reason I'd say that Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people is because he has incessantly placed himself above the American people. One of the best examples of this was in 2020 when he denied the outcome of the election, and then he attempted to stage a coup against our government in an attempt to rig the outcome of the 2020 election by like sending fake certificates of ascertainment to Congress to be certified.
I think like January 6th is the least like doesn't care about the American people moment from Donald Trump. But I guess you could technically make the argument about like every politician on both sides. They don't give a fuck about the American people because they are completely captured by our corporations and the wealthy. Like January 6th is here's what it is. Here's why. Not because like J6 is a sleeper. That's not the point. The real point is because in the minds of these Trump supporters and people who love Donald Trump, maybe some of them think January 6th was like a little off color. It's a little too much, but they think January 6th is patriotic. They probably know people that are arrested at January 6th. They think January 6th is a good thing. They think that it was a good thing that the gay pedophile Democratic Party tried to steal the election and they fought back bravely. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like you can't argue on that basis. Also, January 6th was hilarious and awesome. I do agree. Like, I do agree, and I do wish more January 6th would happen. And I don't even feel like even remotely like worried about that statement because I mean, one, it's never going to happen, I don't think. But also two, like if it did, it would still be very entertaining. And yeah, the fat like hogs climbing the walls, dude, that shit was so good. Like, the amount of content. Anonymous gifter, thank you for the 127 gifted subs. God damn. Like I said though, like, obviously, you can't say that about, like, actual atrocities like 9/11. You know what I mean? You can't say that about that. That would get you clipped and you would get blasted into orbit. Okay? But January 6th demonstrably is nowhere near as, like, devastating as 9/11, which is why I feel comfortable saying like it was awesome and I wish it would happen again.
That is real. That was the greatest internal attack on our government since the Civil War. Another example would be the border. He has inconsistently placed himself above the American people in that respect. He torpedoed.
Oh, dude, America deserves a million January 6s. Come on. Both in terms of like the entertainment and also in terms of just like overall distrust and anger towards the government. Like that also straight up. Didn't someone die on January 6th? Yeah, dude, because she broke through the barrier and like tried to use her skull as a way to stop bullets from a Secret Service agent. Like, what do you mean? Like, look, I still think I still maintain the belief that like they shouldn't have domed her. Okay. It's still ridiculous, but also come on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, she was no angel. No, I'm not even doing this. She was no angel. It's like, bro, come on. You got like a cop who's staring down the zombie apocalypse, and you got like a mouth-breathing freak breaking through the goddamn barrier, like breaking the window to try to jump through the window. Yeah. The guy blasted, dude. There were good guys on both sides that day. There were very fine people on both sides. Nah, for me, I have the opposite take. January 6th, no good guys on no side, which is why I wanted that to happen again. It was funny. There were very awful people on both sides, okay? What am I going to do? Root for the cops and the congresspersons? Get the out of here.
Langford's bill in the Senate that would have specifically brought an end to the crisis 2 years ago.
Okay, you've got three.
He didn't want to give the Democrats a win.
Let's slow down.
Another example.
Wait, no. Let's slow down because you just put out so much. And let's unpack that a little bit.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first thing that one thing I would like to say, does Donald Trump care about the American people? Donald Trump went to East Palestine. Joe Biden waited 6 months. Okay.
Hope AOC remembers that. She was in the Capitol. It's fine. Obviously, I wish no harm to my favorite congressperson. But dude, it got so much more fun when I realized, like, okay, Ilhan Omar's safe. You know, like that was the attitude shift for me. Okay. That was the tide change for me. When I found out that they were fine, okay, I was like, all right, good. This is great.
Okay. Donald.
Like, Chatter's in here acting like it wouldn't be funny if they like captured Josh Hawley. You know what I mean? Like you're acting like you wouldn't be laughing if you watch these hogs like grab Josh Hawley, okay? Be like, come over here. You phony. They wouldn't even know what to do with him. They'd probably take like selfies with him while he's crying.
Donald Trump went to the military families of the soldiers that were at Abbey Gate. Joe Biden forgot their names.
What?
Donald Trump went and visited the people whose families were by migrants. Joe Biden won't mention their names. Donald Trump let me, an average American citizen, go to his house 3 times.
Okay,
what does that have to do with the prompt? Yo, did she Trump? What is this? What the, bro? Joe Biden won't let me into his house. Donald Trump did 3 times.
Do you mind like responding to my reasons why?
Okay, let's start with reason 1.
Cool.
Every election in history has had challenges, including Bush v. Gore. Okay. There have always been alternate electorals. I believe that January 6th helped Democrats well more than it ever did Republicans. You know why? Because it stopped the debate on the floor. And I, as a Republican, wanted to see that debate on the floor that day. I had problem with the elections. In 2022, my son's vote didn't arrive, and I was a candidate.
Okay, I just want to clarify. So you do affirm that Trump sent fake slates of electors to 7 different states?
They were not fake. There's always alternate slates of electors in every single election.
That is not true. That is not
true. That is true.
That is not true.
That is true. I worked on the Ron Paul campaign.
Is it possible?
What the?
You were like 5.
Is it possible
this has happened all the time?
Okay, yeah. Could you give me another example of a sitting U.S. president not agreeing with the outcome of the 2020 election, then going to the DOJ? Trump told Bill Barr to announce widespread voter fraud when there wasn't any.
They didn't investigate it. They didn't investigate it.
Yes, they did. Donald Trump did. George W. Bush did. Every single American president, every single Republican American president has investigated it. There have been numerous bipartisan committees looking into widespread voter fraud. The most comprehensive study ever conducted on voter fraud is from the Heritage Foundation, and it has shown that over 30 billion plus votes that have been casted over the course of the past 30 years, 3 decades, in every election, and every fucking midterm election, every general election, every midterm election, there is only 1,200 instances of voter fraud. 1,200. Okay? 1,200 instances of documented voter fraud. Now, not all of those guys are Democrats either, for the record, as a matter of fact. A lot of the high-profile voter fraud cases are actually from the Republicans themselves, many of Trump's own supporters. 3 billion, not 30. Over the course of 30 years, I don't know. Who cares? Okay? The point is, it's basically 0%. Okay, 1,200 out of 3 billion, not 1,200 out of 30 billion. I don't know how many votes have been cast over the course of the past 30 years in every midterm election and every general election. Just so you understand.
You know, every single case was
there were
every
63
single
court
case
cases
that were dismissed on standing. Because the judges said they never saw the evidence.
Okay, I'm going to go to tell you what happened with the 2020 election. So okay, Donald Trump
you're going to tell me.
Wait, 27 billion? Dude, it doesn't matter. It is so marginal that, like, the difference between 3 billion and 30 billion doesn't really move the needle. That's the point. The point I am making is that it is so marginal that even if it was 300 million votes and 1,200 votes that were cast fraudulently, it would still not be electorally consequential. Okay? Yeah, that's just another magnitude of no impact. Like, it literally does not matter. I can say 1 trillion votes were cast and it still wouldn't matter. The point is how tiny of a sliver of votes were actually fraudulent over the course of 30 years in every midterm election and also general election. That's crazy, dude. Put another 0 before or after the put another 0 before it. That's it. That's all you're doing in that situation. Before the dot.
What you think happened, but I'm going to tell you that you're wrong.
Okay, one moment, ma'am. Donald Trump formed, right, an election integrity committee where he appointed his people and gave them millions of dollars.
And what's happening
now? Do you mind
now?
if I finish?
No, I do mind because you know
ma'am,
what?
If you can allow me to finish, we can't have a productive conversation here.
We can't have a productive conversations when you have an entire 20 minutes.
You don't understand. All 1,200 instances were in cases where 1 single vote mattered. That's not how that works. But that would be pretty funny. That's 1,200 stolen elections, brother.
And filibuster the whole thing.
Okay, well, if you want to talk, go ahead, but you're not allowing me the time to demonstrate why I believe in what I do.
Okay, but you're not allowing me to say basic fact of...
You're not allowing me to lie.
What has happened in this instance. Every person that runs for election has the opportunity to challenge an electoral process. That is not illegal.
Yeah, Trump did that. The problem is he went far beyond that, okay? Like, ain't nobody's talking about Jill Stein doing a, doing a recount, okay? That's not like, that's neither here nor there. The difference is Donald Trump, who was still at the time the sitting president, actively trying to change the outcome of an election. Come on, like, I'm not libbed up, and I don't give a fuck about January 6th beyond the entertainment value, but it's ridiculous to be like, no, you don't understand. He should be able to do that. He was simply just doing the normal process of challenging election outcomes. No, he wasn't. He was trying to change the election outcomes. That's crazy. In the most basic way, he was just cheating. Like, he was a sore loser and he was trying to cheat.
What's happening now is you've got attorneys that were looking into the election fraud, which the Biden DOJ is now prosecuting, having their law licenses removed. We are watching communism in live action. And you know what? I want you to have a future.
Can you define communism?
Yeah, basically it's mob rule. It's Marxism. It's mob rule.
It's called democracy, ass. What do you mean mob rule? Communism is basically mob rule. Okay, you just made an argument for communism, not against it, you idiot. I love how callous Americans are about, like, the foundational aspects of democracy, okay? Like, they just repeat, oh, well, democracy is the tyranny of majority, without ever thinking about, like, what that means for the position that they're defending. So, okay, so you're fine with the tyranny of the minority? Like, what the f is this? Yes, dude. It is. Yes. Communism is a tyranny of the majority, which is a good thing, which is also known as democracy. Okay.
False. Literally all wrong. Communism is a stateless, classless, moneyless society.
Okay.
Yeah, people that don't understand, like when they say we're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, they don't understand that no, that's still democracy, okay? If it wasn't the case, then you wouldn't have to vote for it, okay? It's still democracy. Theoretically, a democracy, okay? Now, obviously, America technically is an oligarchy, but
welcome in. Doing all right.
Trump's administration versus Biden's, objectively 2016 to 2020, and then under Biden so far up to date. Objectively, the economy was better under Trump. Inflation was as high as, I believe, 9% under Biden. It's destroying the middle class, and then it's also putting people in more poverty. So how does that make Trump not be in support of American people? If it's breaking down the middle class, putting people in more poverty.
Yeah.
So things in the grocery store are 4 times higher to pay for. People are having harder time to put food on the table for their families.
Yeah.
During the Biden administration versus Trump. So I want you to
of course.
explain.
Well, let's start off here. Do you think that the Biden-Harris administration caused inflation?
Yeah, because under Trump's administration and the policies he induced, inflation was never that high.
Okay.
And then after COVID hit and Biden's administration took over, everything skyrocketed. Gas prices, grocery stores, everything.
Your argument here is because it happened in the country while they were president, they caused it. So my question to you is, did Donald Trump cause the highest rate of unemployment that we've had since the Great Depression in August of 2020 at 14.8% simply because it happened under his administration?
No, simply because people couldn't leave their home, which was, causing people.
Okay. I mean, he did. I mean, it's a buyer logic moment, but like it's correct. Yeah. So then he did.
People to
and now we're introducing external variables. So in the same way COVID caused, right, that high rate of unemployment that we had under Trump's term, COVID also caused the global inflation that we saw onset at the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration. This didn't happen locally in the U.S. This inflation happened all around the globe. But a fun fact here, the Biden-Harris administration actually ushered in the quickest response from the inflation onset by the pandemic out of any other country in the G7.
I had another point, which was that.
Appreciate you for coming up, man.
What I've noticed, because I work in retail,
I think he needs to cut them more. Like he needs to start telling them to shut the fuck up. Like seriously.
For some seasons, and I've seen a huge bloodshed of Colombians coming in. Okay, we just got to be really realistic here about the economy. So yes, I think that kind of blaming causation and kind of correlating that to the current president, it's a little bit of a slippery slope. However, I think that when you look at the border and the way that everything has been coming in with migration, of course that the economy became better. Why? Because a lot of Colombians came in, right? And they started working and they started inputting more taxes. All these fake socials that they get, they start contributing to the tax money. They pay more taxes every year, and the government basically hides this by grabbing an app, and they basically use that as an ankle bracelet replacement so that people don't find out. Instead of
what? Is he like, I'm confused. Is he about to advocate to like process these migrants even better? Like then what? Why is he making a pro-immigration argument? Does he understand that he is making a pro-immigration argument? Like what? I think his man bun is on a little too tight. I mean, he's really pulling his hairline back, and also on top of that, it seems like he's not thinking clearly.
Putting an ankle bracelet on people's ankles, they hide the fact that they're allowing all these illegal immigrants come in. So the economy has become such a success, per your statement that it's been a success in the last 4 years, because all these immigrants have been
He's sharing a pro-immigration conspiracy theory, huge difference. No, what he's describing is currently the process in which like migrants contribute to the American economy. The only problem I have with what he said was that he also made it seem like they are, even Omar Navarro is like, what the fuck are you saying, bro? You're making a pro-immigrant argument. The only issue I have with what he said was that what did he say? He said something in there that was like wrong.
Contributing to the tax dollars that the government has been wanting.
Wait.
And so hence Medi-Cal.
So you'd agree that immigration is good for the economy?
The immigration issue is they're being paid less money than the average salary. So I don't understand how that's good for the American people. I think that if you can properly execute someone immigrating into this country.
Oh, the issue I had with it was he talked about the only issue I had, which is coming up now, was when he said, was basically when he said like these migrants are coming in and they're illegal immigrants. And they're not. Like, you openly demonstrated when they're on the app and when they have TPS status, like, they're not illegal. They are legal documented migrants that are legally working on US soil. So I don't know. I think he's making an argument that he doesn't realize he's making because he's correct on the issue. Wage deflation by using like undocumented migrants is a real problem. But the solution to that problem isn't to like do mass deportations. The solution to that problem is to document and process the undocumented migrants that are working on U.S. soil currently so they can contribute more to our tax revenue. And also beyond that, then they get paid more. Like, allow them to participate in the labor force, allow them to unionize and make demands that they take back more of the profits that they generate.
Legally and doing it rightfully and everything, like, yes, you can manage the amount of the way the economy is working.
Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit confused on what you just shared with me, but we have a problem, and that is undocumented migration, correct?
Yes.
This is another reason why I say Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people, because Donald Trump doesn't.
If he cared,
mind if I finish?
Go ahead.
Because Donald Trump doesn't care about the southern border. I have a question for you.
Okay.
If your house was burning down and a fire truck showed up to put the fire out and you told them to turn around because you wanted the insurance money from letting it burn, did you care about your house?
Of course.
No. So the idea.
He's too to understand the prompt. Oh no, is he going to defend Kamala Harris's border policy? Oh God, please no. Is he setting this up to be like, well, Kamala Harris wanted to fix the problem and Donald Trump wanted it to keep being a problem? It's not a problem at all. God damn it, dude. It's not a real problem. It's not. It's not. It's not. It is all anti-immigrant, white nativist sentiment. And it is indefensible.
The idea would be if you let the house burn down to get the insurance money, you wouldn't care about your house. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, right? So
I hate conservative brain rot. My own mom was undocumented and it took her 10 years to become a citizen. Though was only through marriage with a U.S. citizen that she was even able to achieve it. Now she thinks undocumented migrants are an issue when she herself was in their shoes not relatively long ago, 3 years ago. Your mom was an undocumented immigrant under the Trump administration, and now she thinks undocumented migrants are a problem. How does that happen, bro? How does that happen? I just don't understand it, bro. I don't understand it. I literally don't understand it. I am endlessly fortunate that I was an anchor baby born on U.S. soil. And even the limited amount of like nuisances that I had to deal with as like someone who uprooted his entire life and came here at the age of 18. Like, I look at the limited amount of struggles that I went through, and I can understand how much worse it is for people who don't have that. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me that people who are directly in it not that long ago can have a perspective like this, too assimilated into American culture. But I'm assimilated to American culture.
So when we have a crisis at the southern border and we have the fire truck, or in this case, right, an amazing border bill that would have ended the crisis years ago, proposed to Congress by Langford, a Trump-endorsed Republican.
The brain rot in the Hispanic community is out of control. I got 3 anchor baby cousins with 2 uncles that were undocumented and are now anti-immigrant. And so I think the funniest would be if you're still an undocumented immigrant and you're like, hell yeah, brother, I want Trump to do this mass deportation now. It's great. There are those too. Nah, you can't be an undocumented migrant and be like, mass deportation now. Someone said, bro, that's my brother. How is that possible, bro? I got cousins who have undocumented parents and are voting for Trump, Lamount. Like, at least when Republicans are like, yeah, welfare because the blacks are using it or whatever, like, there's a reason, right? Like, they're too to understand that it's their welfare that's going away as well as black people's welfare. But if you're directly undocumented, you're just advocating for your own deportation without like getting anything out of it. You know what I mean? Unless you think like other undocumented people are shitty or something, I don't know. And you're just going to be able to, not me, I'm built different. Like, I'm going to survive this. What the? I'm Bill Dipperly, bro. Trust. I'll withstand this. Bro, I swear it's like it's the Turkish guy, dude. That guy, the Turkish guy who crosses the border, and immediately, as soon as he crossed the border, he was like, man, they could be letting in anybody in here. There could be a crossing the border. It's like, bro, they think you're the bro. What the f are you saying? Like, they don't make differences between you and someone else. It's not about like whether someone has a background, okay? Answer my chat, please. I want to know your argument. My dad, who was an illegal immigrant, tried to argue me by saying if someone broke into your house and used your stuff, would you just let them stay? What? Does he think that's how the country works? Did he break into someone's house and use their when he was an illegal immigrant? Like, what the? When someone, answer my chat, please. I want to know your argument. I mean, I don't even know how to answer that. When someone is flying in, he just says the immigrant should enter legally, but he didn't enter legally. What are you talking about? You just said my dad used to be an illegal immigrant. He didn't enter legally. So what the is he saying? What? He tries to say the immigrants should just enter legally. I don't even know what to say. It's like, listen, dude, listen. Borders are just symbols, okay? We just made it up. That's the reality. I know that people hold a lot of significance on borders, but there's functionally no difference between saying someone crossed the Mexican border or saying someone crossed the Canadian border, which suspiciously no one ever talks about. I wonder why. And someone crossed the border between Nevada and California, okay? When someone moves from California to Nevada to go and work in Nevada, you don't go, they broke into my house and they stole my... You just say, oh, that's just a guy who moved from one state to another. Okay? It's the same. It's the same. That's it. There is no difference functionally between a dude crossing the Mexican border to the United States of America or the, Canadian border into the United States of America to come work here than a dude who crossed the California border into Nevada.
And then Donald Trump turns around and calls the Senate and tells them to vote against the bill because he doesn't want to give the Democrats a win, and he wants the ability to be able to campaign on the crisis.
Yeah, I hate this, man. I'm sorry. Like, I hate this argument so much. Oh, look at how hypocritical the Republicans are. It's like, that's all this is. That's why I also get annoyed with debate lording in general. It's like, okay, so you just don't give a shit about immigration now? Like, what's going on? Like, you just think it's bad overall? Or do you think it's good? Do you think it's good that this is a nation of immigrants? You don't have to move right with the party. You're an individual, independent TikTok content creator. You don't have to defend the Democratic Party on this issue. Just like you earlier didn't defend Joe Biden on his background. Spanish is a huge issue in right-wing anti-immigrant propaganda. We don't see it, but it's all over the Latino community. Yeah, Univision, like a lot of the Spanish television is like super reactionary from what I understand. I don't know. I don't speak Spanish, so I can't speak to it. But yes, the results are weird. Hasan, my dad was an illegal immigrant, says we should bow to our white overlords. What's a good counter argument? This isn't quite the same, but my dad thinks Trump isn't actually going to do mass deportations. You know, the guy whose convention was mass deportations now signs and mentions mass deportations at every rally. He doesn't think he's actually going to do it. So maybe that's the thinking. I mean, it makes sense. And your dad is not wrong, for the record. I still think it's like incredibly damaging for him to advocate for that policy. Do I think that he would be able to pull it off? No, but he would still do something close to it, and it still doesn't matter. That's like still incredibly damaging. The real reason why I don't think Trump, to be fair, I was wrong on the abortion ban either, because I was like, I did not think that the Republican Party would be so insane as to like give a fat W to the Democrats like that when they could have just dangled the abortion thing in front of the evangelical base like a carrot election after election and not have to suffer any of the real repercussions of like actually pushing through on that policy. So maybe they would actually do mass deportations. But having said that, mass deportations overall, the reason why I don't think that they would actively pursue that policy, but would come very close to it, which is still insane and still concentration camps at the border, is because you still need, slave labor. That's it. You need slave labor. All of these Republican small business owners abuse and use migrant workers, okay? Undocumented migrants. That's all they do. What do you think? You think they're going to use, American citizens as workers? No. Who's gonna pick the crops, dude? California is a great example. The agribusiness would literally fail. Like, if you want to be bloodless, cold, and calculating and not even think about the human toll of mass deportation, you also have to understand a fundamental truth, okay? Food prices would go up so much, like, because these, without any sort of price caps, any sort of price control whatsoever, food prices would go up by astronomical figures. You would immediately cut into the readily available supply of food. The American economy would fall apart. We would no longer have a surplus of agricultural output, like nothing. The entirety of the agribusiness, which is the real reason why food prices are relatively cheap, is because undocumented migrants work for pennies on the fucking dollar. Now, my solution to this is to document the undocumented workers and improve their wages and living conditions, okay, without allowing corporations to actually increase the prices, because I still think that they take a ton of subsidies overall, and the government can use that as an alternative stressor to be like, listen, you're not getting any subsidies if you raise your food prices. Like, that's ridiculous. You need to not be as profitable.
Crisis at the southern border now. Does Donald Trump care about the southern border?
So basically what you're doing is you're trying to attack and kind of deflate the right? But at the end of the day, we got to realize that no side is potentially perfect, because clearly the Democrats are going to see.
I am going to speak at the Oxford Union, most likely in December.
That the right are horrible, and the right's going to see that the Democrats are also.
But do you mind answering the question there? Because I did make an important point there that I don't think should go unnoticed, right? In the same way, in the hypothetical, if you let your house burn down and told the fire truck to turn away, you don't care about the house. And if Donald Trump lets the crisis at the southern border continue and tells, like, the Republicans in the House and the Senate to turn the border bill around in 2022, he doesn't care about the southern border.
Look, the border's always going to have a crisis. There's human trafficking constantly. If you look at the narcotics, if you look at all these drug dealers that are coming in, right?
Growers get subsidized. Growers don't sell commodities to end users. No, that's what we're talking about the growers. We're talking about the dudes in the first line of the agribusiness. If the pickers are getting higher wages, then obviously in the first line of the agribusiness, the people that are hiring them are going to try to offset that. Let's say tomorrow there's this magical wand. Okay. And all of the people that are working for like UFW all of a sudden got better wages, and their wages were adjusted to like living standards. Okay. And now they're making like an honest living. It's no longer pennies on the dollar. They're actually getting paid in the same exact way that like anyone else would get paid in that job if they were documented. Okay. Waving their magic wands again for the illegals. You're right, brother. Hell yeah, that's right. I am doing that because I think they're more valuable to this country than you are. Okay. Anyway, so we did that, let's say, with the magic wand. They would try to increase the costs immediately to maintain their profit margins. They would try to increase their costs to maintain their profit margins, and then that would be carried on to the consumer. In an effort to stop that dead in its tracks and not have a massive inflationary crisis, what the American government could do is basically say, if you increase your prices in order to maintain your profit margins, we are going to take away your subsidies. You will collapse entirely. And if you do collapse entirely after we take your subsidies away, we will take over your business and we will run it for you. Okay? Obviously, that would probably stop a lot of the agribusiness company owners, like the agri corporation owners, dead in their tracks. They would not increase the prices with that threat. Question mark, communist take. Yeah. Nationalization via forced bankruptcy. Very cool. I can't tell if you're joking or not, but I do think that's very cool. I'm not joking. Let me take the hat off so you understand. I'm being very serious about this. Yes. If you cannot run your business, then the government will run it for you. Okay? And companies time and time again have demonstrated that they cannot run their businesses. I suggested during COVID that the American government overtake Boeing regardless. Yes. What companies do you own, chatter, that you have such a, you know, resilient take here? What companies do you own? Nothing. You own nothing. You own a busted down Honda Civic that was a hand-me-down from your older brother, and you think that's your asset. One day, though, if you watch enough TikToks, you'll be able to own an Airbnb business. The FDIC does that with failing banks on a daily basis. People don't chirp about that. What? Read Nikki Bigelow's comment? I can't. Yeah, dog, we need food. Exactly. That's precisely why the government, if these agricultural corporations cannot operate their businesses and care more about their profits, then yeah, we'll do it ourselves. If a private business can't run without subsidies, bailouts, can't even pay minimum wage without collapsing, gets rid of cobs, then what is the business there for? Why should it exist? Exactly. No, you mean jobs. Get rid of jobs. Okay. What is the business there for? Why should it exist? That's a great question. Okay. That is a great question that more Americans should be asking. But if the government were to take over, you'd be out of a job with such speech? Wait, what? What do you mean? That doesn't even make any sense. The government overtaking and nationalizing, like nationalizing farmland would not take my job away at all. I don't know why you think that. Amazon? Okay. What? Why would I be out of a job? There's still need for entertainment, okay? Don't worry. And I also don't even care. Like, if the government was like hyper nationalizing so many different sectors and I was out of a job, I think that lives would be genuinely improved in the United States of America as long as they maintain efficiency. And honestly, I don't give a if I don't have a, chirping ass Twitch job at that point. Who cares? Here in Uruguay, public jobs are considered a blessing because of stability. Yeah. And people don't have any understanding of how this stuff can work. Like, a better private-public partnership is possible as long as the government has the control over the reins. We do have the control over the reins in America, but we never actually exercise them in the opposite direction. We only give subsidies and demand nothing in return. And that's what's very frustrating about it. And we don't even have a say in how those subsidies are utilized, which makes me very angry because those subsidies are paid for with your tax dollars. You understand?
Hi. Thanks for coming up, man. What's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan, nice to meet you. Dean. We have 3 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock here. I would like to bring in why I'd say that he doesn't care about the American people. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Cool. It's because how much he lies. Donald Trump is an incessant, unapologetic liar. He lied to the American public over 30,000 times while he was president. He told the biggest lie that any sitting president has ever told with the denial of the 2020 election. And what is the Achilles tendon to a democracy? An uninformed voter base. Trump has misled his voter base, has made them misinformed, has made them engage in fringe conspiratorial hearsay by his incessant lies.
Okay. Can you give me any reasons why you think Joe Biden cares about American people more than Trump?
Okay, I mean, yeah, sure. First of all, Kamala Harris is running for president right now.
No, Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, sure. Yeah, because Joe Biden...
Just the Democratic...
Of course. Because Joe Biden passed 4 pieces of monumental legislation that benefited the low and the middle class more than it benefited the top 1%. We could talk about the PACT Act, investing $800 million into the expansion of VA healthcare benefits. We could talk about the CHIPS and Science Act, bringing 20% of the global chip production back to here at home in America by 2030. We could talk about the infrastructure bill, investing $1 trillion into local communities across the U.S., spurring their...
Dude, that's such a crazy response because, like, he's not wrong, okay? He's not wrong. It's what like the bare minimum competent administration is supposed to do. And like when he's bringing up certain policies, even from a liberal perspective, there's things that you can point to. Their response is so annoying. Like the conservative response is, oh, blah, 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 nerd, shut up. Like, what do you mean, bro? Like, listen to what he's saying. What the
our economies and creating new construction jobs, or we could talk about the Inflation Reduction Act, investing millions of dollars into renewable energy resources to reduce inflation in the long term by addressing supply chain issues now. Those are 4 big policies that I would say demonstrate Biden's care for the American people.
Okay, 4 years ago under Trump, did you see...
I don't care if I have a job at that point. It's a weird take that seems to come from a place of privilege. You're probably set financially for someone who depends on their business and livelihood. Hey, asshole, I'm saying I would put the fries in the bag. I don't think you understand my point. My point is that's an L I'm willing to take. I'm in an incredibly cushy, incredibly privileged position. But if everyone else was going to benefit, then in that circumstance, I would rather put the fries in the bag. Okay? Shut your ass up. You don't have to constantly chirp about how much privilege I have. I'm saying I'm willing to take an L on that. I'm willing to revoke my privilege that I have if everyone else benefits in this circumstance. But you are so cynical that you literally cannot comprehend the words that are coming out of my mouth without analyzing it from like some idiotic perspective where I'm like actually really privileged, and that's why I have the capacity to say that. God damn, dude. God damn. So many people are just so cynical due to like how awful everything is. So they just automatically assume it's basically the same principle of like, would you suck it if every American had healthcare? And the answer is yes. Okay, I would suck it if every American had healthcare tomorrow. I don't want to suck it, but I would do it if every American had healthcare tomorrow. That's it. It's me taking the L, not what you think is going. What? I mean, fair enough on the I'm willing to put the fries in the bag, but no reason to be so extreme hurling insults. No, I am. I'm sick and tired of it, Juicebox 2 Gaming. Sick and tired of people immediately assuming that like there's some form of like cynical reasoning as to why I'm saying certain things. You don't have to be contentious sometimes. You can just like listen to what I have to say and take it in. Holy man, I remember when Hasan was poor, his takes were more dank and relatable. Yeah, exactly. It was the exact same points that I was making, except because I was broke, people didn't have this like, you know, attitude about it.
Benefits going towards immigrants and wars more than American people.
Did we see? No, and we don't see that now either.
Oh, we don't see it now?
No.
Bro, I moved here from Chicago, and 4 years under Trump, I wasn't seeing immigrants sleeping outside of police stations, gathered in gangs and doing drugs outside police stations, living in high-rise hotels, getting benefits.
Oh, if you're just there's more immigrants coming into our country now than there.
Why I think the distrust of the rich is a good view, man. Man, people are getting way too cynical. No, I think it's a healthy attitude to distrust the rich. Okay, I do, which is why I don't often yell at people. But in this circumstance, you're just misunderstanding my point, and it's very annoying that you are just like actively doing the opposite of active listening. You're like actively mishearing.
Free money.
That's true.
But earlier, didn't you say it was the same?
Oh, no. I said it's the same right now. So after Biden's executive order on the border, we have the same amount of daily crossings today across our southern border as we had at the end of Trump's term.
At the end of Trump, it was more.
Yeah, it was the same or more at the end of Trump's term.
You literally just said we have more immigrants coming in now.
Okay, so over the 4-year presidency of Biden and Harris, there has been more migration across the southern border because of the revocal of Title 42, causing a surge of entries into our country. After Biden's
that was not going on during Trump. Am I right?
Yeah, right. So we had lower crossings under Trump, but I don't think we could say because there's lower crossings under Trump.
What are you saying, bro? Stop. Come on. Spider-Man, what the? A surge of migrants coming into the country? Do you hear yourself? Jesus Christ. This is why I get so mad at the Democratic Party for actively taking this role. This is why Bernie Sanders running for president was so beneficial for the American future, because like when you have a guy up there saying those things, you're like, what the? He's saying the things that I actually agree with for once. You know what I mean? But when the guy up there has no one pressuring them to adopt certain positions like Kamala Harris did with Medicare for All in 2019, all of a sudden the conversation moves to whatever they're advocating for, and then all these libs also advocate for the same things. Now, I can't speak for Spider Lib in terms of like 2020 because I assume he was like 12 back then. Okay, so I don't know what his analysis was back then, but if he was this age back then, he'd probably be advocating for the exact opposite positions in terms of immigration, because the Democrats were advocating for the opposite of this position in terms of immigration. It's so sad that people are like either genuinely scared of like being outside of the Democratic machine, even though if they are outsiders, it doesn't matter. It's just like, hot take, I actually have hope for this generation. I think things will turn around. No, I don't agree. Tel Aviv was shot, apparently. This wording is probably ass, I'm drunk. Just say that, look, as a debate pervert, as a former debate pervert, there is so much empirical data that you can point to destroy your interlocutors in the marketplace of ideas in terms of like this entire anti-immigrant insanity, okay? Just literally, and he did. He literally did. He brought up the fact that undocumented migrants are not responsible for more per capita than documented U.S. citizens are. He was right about that. So he knows the data. Just say it. The framing is built around a falsehood. Trying to understand it, what he's saying or how he's saying is wrong. He is actively trying to engage with the hypocrisy argument, which is a silly argument to begin with because Republicans and Democrats both are hypocrites. They don't give a okay? He's trying to be like, oh, if immigration is such a big problem, then like Kamala Harris wanted to solve it and Donald Trump wanted to use it as a talking point. So we told the Republican Party not to pass a bill that was going to build a border wall. Now, that position is fine if you're a bloodless, white nativist, freak-ass Stephen Miller style who does actually want to make this a white nation. But that argument is not all right if you're a liberal who is supposed to be progressive, who's supposed to have progressive-minded opinions, who's supposed to at least care about the truth a little bit. That's what's very frustrating.
Trump than under Biden and Harris, that Biden and Harris caused that. Let me ask you a question, or more so make a statement. I'd look at the southern border like a river, and I'd look at Title 42, what was enacted at the end of Trump's term because of COVID, like a dam. As soon as that dam is lifted from the river, the water gushes through, just like when Title 42 was reversed and all these people that have been turned away for the last 2 years that are coming to our country because of economic disparities onset by COVID in their own, rushed into our country.
Okay.
Dude lives in a bubble and doesn't realize the amount of drugs and human trafficking coming from the southern border. Interesting take. I wonder how I will be able to defeat this idiotic notion. Human trafficking only occurs if there are restrictions on actual normal immigrant processing systems, which we currently have. There's a bottleneck for no reason. That's number one. So if you truly want to combat human trafficking, what you are supposed to do is ease the process and make it more efficient, process the undocumented migrants and document them so they do not have to, go through these human trafficking measures. That's number one. Number two, dude lives in a bubble and doesn't realize the amount of drugs coming from the southern border. Drugs are trafficked over the U.S. border through regular points of entry. It's not undocumented migrants that are smuggling the drugs over the border. It's actually American citizens that are driving it through the regular ports of entry. That's not my assessment of the situation. That is the Department of Homeland Security's own apprehension numbers. 90% of the drugs that are caught coming through are actually apprehended in regular points of entry from American citizens. Okay? So if your goal, are caught is the key word, you are a baboon who does not understand how stats work. Okay? Do you think that the people are actually smuggling the drugs over the border, but are so good at it that they are able to be apprehended by Customs and Border Patrol, and yet they still are able to hide the drugs? Which do you think is easier to smuggle a ton of fentanyl over the border, or chemical products, chemical compounds that you need to create fentanyl in? A car that you cut up and smuggle all the fentanyl chemical compounds into, or the otherwise law-abiding abuelas ass cheeks who can actually smuggle a larger quantity of drugs? Do you know how unreliable this would be, logistically speaking? Have you ever thought about it? Like, think about how unreliable of a supply chain that looks like, where you're giving drugs to random people who are not like expert runners, okay? And you're smuggling a very limited amount of drugs every single time. Do you understand how you sound when you imagine this world in which it is actually a more efficient process to give drugs to like 50 undocumented migrants, to have them cross and run over the border, not get apprehended by Customs and Border Patrol, instead of just packing it in a vehicle? Of course, the data shows 90% of the drugs that are apprehended at the border are actually apprehended by American citizens, because that's the most efficient way of trafficking drugs. Or embedding people in large groups of people coming over would be logistically better? No, it wouldn't. You're an idiot. You're wrong. Okay? If that was the case, then Amazon would be doing that instead of slamming their delivery mechanisms inside of UPS trucks. What are you saying? Oh, wow. I didn't realize how much easier it is to just give things randomly to people and hope that they actually get to the place that they're supposed to be delivered to. Are you? Yes. The answer is yes. You are. You're a person with wrong opinions. Oh my God. If logistically it would be better to just give someone random a package and hope that it gets delivered to the location that it needs to go to, that's how Amazon would run delivery. You really have no understanding of how guerrilla tactics work? Shut the fuck up. You have no understanding of how anything works. That's okay, though. It's your platform to yell. No, you just took a fat L because you're an ass, and now you're just going to go, oh, you yelling at me. Use your platform to yell. Guerrilla tactics, my ass. I am describing something just at the fundamental level. Hasan, I love your streams. Are you a bit delusional? Yes, I am delusional for not subscribing to the idiotic notion that at the top of the hour there isn't a 3-minute ad break. There is one, and you're about to get hit with it unless you subscribe. He said Trump is the second coming of Jesus. Cope? Yes, I'm coping. Brother, I don't give a... Okay, listen. I'm a goddamn red-blooded American, and I just know facts. Do you understand? It's common sense, ass. Uber Eats can't get my burger from across town, but 10 guys can move kilos of fent across a border. Yeah. Do you know how unstable of a logistical nightmare this would look like to rely on random people that just want to go into the United States of America? That's it. That's all they want to do. And they're paying you. And then you're just like giving them drugs in the process. And you're like, well, you know, GG's. Hope you make it across the border. We don't even know if we'll be able to apprehend you at the other side of the border. It's just so... No one ever thinks about this. Oh. Anyway, here's a 3-minute ad break now. Bro thinks they swallow several bags of fent through the border. Chatter. Exactly. Like, this idea is so... Because it implies that the CBP doesn't actually stop border crossers. They do. Okay? They do. All the time. But those border crossers don't have drugs on them. Sometimes they do, which makes up 10% of the drug trafficking into the United States of America. Okay? 10% of 10%. Border crossers are much easier to catch and apprehend than drug traffickers. You cannot reliably and sustainably build a business around funneling chemical compounds necessary for fentanyl creation by sneaking it over the border with undocumented migrants. You are an idiot if you think that. Holy... You are not delusional, but you're California pilled. What do you mean California pilled? I like that I have to rely. I like that I have to rely on like fundamentals here about like, you know, fundamentals of like a supply chain and how unsustainable that would be if you relied on like random people you've never seen before carrying these things, these high value products across the fucking finish line with no assurances that you'll be able to get them on the other side. Okay? Like, I have to describe that because the 90% data from the Customs and Border Patrol is not enough. 90% data from the Department of Homeland Security is not enough for these cow brain. So I have to like also walk them through how silly this is.
Sorry, I just had to very quickly. The one shows how he cares for the American people is that he's a multi-billionaire that chose to run for president, and he's one of the only presidents that's net worth has actually gone down. If he didn't care for the American...
Yeah, because he's a businessman, okay? L for Trump. I don't even think that's correct, but it doesn't matter, okay? Let's say it's correct. It's because he sucks at business. There you go.
And people, why would he even go out of his way, lose his worth to run for president?
Great question. And here's what I'd say. I'd say that Donald Trump has billions of dollars, literally speaking. He doesn't care about money. He wants something else. He wants power, right? And being able to force himself into the highest position of ranking power in the world is a big deal. And that's what he wants. He doesn't really care about the American people, or else he would have enacted legislation for the low and the middle class, or else he would have not tried to over...
Hey, before we go any further,
Kamala Harris would be a much better president than Donald Trump. Oh my God.
I don't believe that Kamala Harris would be a better president than President Trump. And the reason why I believe that is because Kamala Harris has...
Man, this guy can't shut the up, huh? Real yapper.
Had many chances. When she was a district attorney in San Francisco, she convicted more people of minors than any other DA of San Francisco. And I know this too because I lived in San Francisco for a period of time. And I understand the justice system to a certain extent. So Kamala Harris, if you have her as president, she's going to go after people for minor offenses. She's going to try to convict people for even marijuana, for an example. I mean, come on. Most people in this country have already been past this whole issue with cannabis and everything. And I think that's something that should be overlooked, and it should be something that should be legalized on a federal level as well. But I do believe that Kamala Harris, if she convicted people of small petty stuff like people having a minor amount of marijuana and had the highest conviction rate in San Francisco, how can you have someone like that as president? And she also was married into the Getty family. Jean-Paul Getty is an elite family in the state of California. So how is it that you're gonna say, oh, Kamala Harris is better than President Trump?
Of course. First, let's respond to a couple of your claims there. How many people did she convict? Not a clue. 45. And what did she do in 2014?
45. You're saying she convicted only 45 people of possession of marijuana?
Yes. And what did she do?
That is not true.
While VP Harris was San Francisco DA, her office won convictions in 1,956 felony and misdemeanor marijuana cases. According to Bay Area News Group, 45 convicted were sentenced to state prison.
That is not true.
Yeah. So he's wrong, and Omar is right. Unfortunately, TikTok debate guy only saw another TikTok debate guy probably repeat this talking point. It was that one K-Hive person. It was that one K-Hive person that, like, SAN, oh my conservative billionaire. Yeah, I can't believe the stalker is right that federal marijuana legalization must happen. But it's, like, kind of funny to think that Trump is the one to do it. Bro's defending the incarceration of nonviolent drug offenders from the left. Yeah. He doesn't know the stats, but he knows they're wrong. Yeah, because he's not a smart individual. He's just a mess. That's why he's saying that. But here at the HasanAbi broadcast, we are looking at the actual facts.
That she convicted only 45 people of marijuana. If she was a district attorney and she had other DAs in the district attorney's office,
do you mind if I finish talking?
Prosecuting those small.
Okay, sir. Do you mind if
she had more than 45 convictions in that office alone.
So yeah, she only had over.
You've had a lot of time to talk. I mean, you had the whole time. I really don't have a lot of time here. But so what I'm saying is,
I just want to be able to finish this point out.
Go ahead. You're saying 45 convictions, but you're not giving me facts.
So while she was DA, it is a.
Just keep talking, big dog. Come on. Just say what you're gonna say.
Hi.
Hi. So do you mind if I give you my reasons why I think that Harris would be a better president?
If you want.
Cool. So there's two main categorical reasons why I say Harris would be better than Trump. The first category is character.
This one is crazy because, like, demographically speaking, she is in, like, the extreme minority. In her age group, like, being a woman, being a young woman, she is, like, probably some of the few. Like, she is in the minority of her demographic in terms of being a Trump supporter. I suspect it is because she is kind of, we'll see.
The second category is policy. Let's start off with character. First of all, Trump is a sexual abuser. Trump is a felon. Trump is a fraudster. Trump is an election denier. He's a dictator on day one.
Yeah, I don't care about any of that, dude. I'm going to be honest. Like, I literally don't care about the person's character. I think all politicians are awful. I think all politicians are awful. But if an awful piece of scumbag is giving healthcare to everyone, I'm on board. You know what I mean?
Want to be fascists, okay? Kamala Harris is none of those. Kamala Harris wants to protect and preserve a democracy. She wants to fight for the freedoms of all Americans, especially the 170 million American women and girls. And then we could reference policy next. If you want to respond to character, go for it. If you want me to hop straight into policy, I could do that too.
Well, you know, starting with character, I technically do not think she's a good person. Speaking of which, you know, if we're bringing up stuff from the past, we can say she slept with Willie Brown, broke up a family just to get her job.
What? Dude, you're like 12. Why the f are you running on Facebook memes? How the f did she get this? Like, this is like straight piping Facebook AI memes into her brain. Why is she so brain rotted? Sad to see. Sad thing to see a 50-year-old brain in a 13-year-old. Yeah, what? Homeschooling? I'm a little confused as to what's happening here. What? Like,
and while she was there, she used a firm that was people in jail that had false positives on drug tests, and she knew they had false positives. She admitted to that, and she was still putting mainly black and brown people in jail. Considering I'm both, that is very much.
Wait, what is going? Wait, what? Considering I'm both? What? Both of what? What is going on? Wait, she's both black and brown and also like a younger woman. Okay, she is in the hyper minor. Like, I think by judging by simple demographics, the person that is least likely to vote for Donald Trump over Kamala Harris is literally a black woman under the age of 30. Okay, there's like 8 probably in the entire country that will be voting for Donald Trump. Like, just straight up, judging by simple demographic data alone, she is one of like the 10, if she is actually black. I don't know if she just said it. I'm just taking her word on this, but this is like a Ryan Ruth style situation. This makes no sense.
A big issue for me, and also that a woman shouldn't represent, they should just sleep to the top for their job. They should actually work hard for it. I generally don't think that she's a good representative. There's plenty of other women out there.
Yeah, I have a question. How many votes did she get in a run for AG? Do you know? Now, how many votes did she get in a run?
We're talking about character, though.
Of course.
We'll talk
about
character and morals. And if we're mentioning character and morals here, she's clearly not a good person.
Okay, I'm responding to your
just
claim.
like you had mentioned all that stuff about Trump, which could be true.
I'm
She's
referencing your claim that I'm referencing your claim that she slept to the top. How many votes did she get when she was running for AG and DA in the state of California?
But that has nothing to do with the fact.
It does. She got 4.5 million votes in total. 80 million for her run for AG or DA. I don't remember which one. And then 4.4 million for the other one. I have a question. You're saying that
of course is 80 million for, you know, the statewide position and 4.5 for the local position, but that's besides the point. I see where he's going. He's going to be like, oh, she didn't every single person to get votes, which I guess is a good own.
She slept her way to the top. How many of those 4.5 million people that voted for her did she have to sleep with?
Well,
but it's also not 80 million. I don't think 8 million
California
versus 4
and
million.
This is pretty corrupt, but to say that she needed the votes of most.
She meant 80 million. He meant 80 million like Joe Biden is Joe Biden's VP.
Most people that matter, which is the person she slept with, could actually overturn and hide these votes just like they did with the election. But
listen, the idea that women have to sleep with men to get into positions
and that's
of power
exactly what she
is
did.
a misogynistic lie. One moment.
She's saying that
do you mind if I finish talking real quick?
We have to open our legs to get jobs. That's exactly how she used it.
Do you mind if I just finish talking real quick? Also, I would like to finish out this conversation. There's a lot of red flags up though. So saying that women have to sleep with men to get into positions of power is a misogynistic lie. What you are doing.
She just
mansplaining. Yo, she should hit him with the mansplaining. Okay, the conservatives are really bad at debating. I got to put this hat back on. Okay, I'm sorry. I will not be spoken down to by a man. As a 1/8 black woman and 1/8 Sicilian, which makes me basically half black, I think it's really sexist of you to be talking down to me about what women can and can't do. Okay, as a woman, as a queen. Okay, let me tell you something. I think women like Kamala Harris give women like me a bad name by sleeping their way to the top, by having sex with 4 million Americans in the state of California in an effort to win that vote, by having sex with all 4 million of them. I think personally, women like me that have to work really hard at our jobs also get hit with that same same reasoning when we actually arrive at our position by prowess.
One moment.
That's what she represents.
What you are doing is you're taking Kamala Harris, you are taking her character, you are taking her proposed policy.
Damn, why is he so passionate about defending? Damn, this guy's real invested in Kamala Harris. Holy shit.
You're taking her intelligence and you're taking her wisdom and you're throwing it out. That the only reason she's in her position of power today is because she slept with a man that had been legally divorced for 3 years is a lie. She got 4.5 million votes to get into AG and DA and slept with 0 of them. The question I have for you,
you don't
is
know
how
that,
do you feel
though.
about Donald
Trump? Do you know that? No.
Do you know that? Yeah, I don't think she 4 million. God damn it, dude. Yeah, she 4 million, okay? She 4 million. She 2 million women and she 2 million men to win, to become the attorney general. She Trump too. Trump gave her 13 grand. So did she Trump as well? He obviously thought she would do a phenomenal job. Also, and I mean this in all sincerity, even if the numbers wasn't 2 million, if it was just 2,000, that would be phenomenally impressive. Okay, that would be worthy of praise, and that would be actually harder work than anything any politician has ever done to actively campaign for any position. Okay, just putting that out there.
Okay,
absolutely
so
not.
You think that she slept with 4.5 million people to get in her position of power?
But the one person that she did was the most important person.
Did you just say that she had to sleep with 4.5 million people?
No, I didn't say that. I said that she slept with one of the most relevant people to get her job.
What was his name?
Get in. Willie Brown.
And how did sleeping with Willie Brown get her the 4.5 million votes in her run for AG&DA?
Because he was in the same position she needed to get.
But we have civil electoral processes. We are a constitutional republic with democratic processes. Yes, I do. And you're saying that she somehow circumvented these civil electoral processes?
I don't hate women, guys. Just letting you know.
Welcome down. I would really like to see if we could have a productive conversation about this point.
Well, I just want to start off by saying that you seem to attack Trump for his character, but then when like Kamala is attacked for her character, it like doesn't matter.
So why do you think that Kamala Harris is a bad person?
For reasons that have been stated.
Can you repeat them?
She's slept with people to get up to her ranking. She hasn't really done all too much as vice president, in my opinion.
I would like to say that is false. She's passed more tie-breaking votes in the Senate than any VP in American history.
Oh my God. Oh, come on, dude. Oh no, that's crazy. What a big job. Like, God damn, dude. Oh no, she cast a tie-breaking vote. That must have been really hard for her, dude. Like, what? What are you saying? It's also about character. Like, who? Come on, man. What she did? Okay, what the f does that have to do with anything? In terms of being the president of the Senate, the vice president has a duty and has a significant role to play in terms of like the Senate proceedings. Kamala Harris just kind of sat there and yeah, passed votes. She was just a tie-breaking vote as the 51st person. That doesn't really mean anything. Like, she didn't really do much in that aspect of her job. Like, that's not all that reasonable. Like, Joe Biden played a more active role in passing legislation under the Obama administration as a vice president in really bad ways, by the way. But he still played a more formative role in terms of sidestepping Obama at times and going directly to Harry Reid, going directly to Republicans and giving them virtually everything they wanted. But like, ultimately, that is doing more as a vice president dealing with the Senate than just sitting there and casting a tie-breaking vote. That doesn't really mean anything. Did any of those tie-breaking votes help the American people in a significant way? Sure. No, it did. It did. But that's besides the point. We're talking about her role. I think it's like a silly. I think it's a silly thing to point to in terms of her like legislative accomplishments or whatever. You know what I mean? And it also has nothing to do with her character, regardless. But I'll vote for Biden too. Don't worry, brother. Me too. I'm voting for Biden. The funniest part about this is that the Joe Biden is such a spiteful little old that he literally put Kamala Harris on duties across the board with one exception, and that was abortion. And that was because Joe Biden was too Catholic and too much of an old curmudgeon to actively communicate about abortion and felt uncomfortable talking about abortion. Whereas Kamala Harris, being a woman, obviously was doing a phenomenal job communicating on the issues that pertain to abortion. But that's it. Like, that's it. On the board, they put her on the border czar duty, man. That's like that is the most ass job that you could have. But again, none of this has anything to do with her character personally. Pope watching Biden's ass. He's going about these character rebuttals the wrong way. The reason why Trump's character is criticized is not because he's Trump, but because he ran on bringing back morality to American politics as a conservative, yet he's degenerate in every way. Kamala's character doesn't mean as much because she doesn't claim to believe in the sanctity of American values. I mean, it also doesn't matter. She's literally just like an empty sheet of paper, okay? She is the most generic Democrat, as generic as you can get.
She's also helped the Biden-Harris administration influence some of the most monumental legislation in modern U.S. history.
Right.
I'm going to name 4 pieces of legislation that the Biden-Harris administration influenced to get passed that benefited the low and the middle class more than rich people. And I want to see if you could do the same for Donald Trump while he was president. They influenced the PACT Act, the Chips and Science Act, the American Rescue Plan, the Infrastructure Bill, and the
Wait, why'd you ban that guy? That was awesome. Brazilian radical. I stand with Kamala. That makes you come to Brazil. Any day, I'll go toe-to-toe with you. I eat Russia-loving asses like you for breakfast. I laughed when Russell Bentley died. Orcs equals dead law. Who the f is Russell Bentley? But for real, come to Brazil. I will convince you through words to want Kamala. But if you want to fight, let's do it. MMA, you pick the ref. Who the f is Russell Bentley? What? Who is that? Russell Bentley, pro-Russia fighter from U.S. that died? What? Now I got to look this up. Hold up. Also, you guys need to unban that guy. He needs to explain his point of view. Who the f is this guy? What? Pro-Russian activism? He was working as an arborist in Round Rock, Texas. Bentley left his life in the U.S., including a relationship with a yoga instructor, to join the pro-Russian forces in Donetsk. Motivated by a desire to combat Ukrainian forces, he arrived in Donetsk. What the? Oh, I remember this guy. We made fun of him. Oh no, I can't believe this guy died, dude. I'm so sad. He invaded Ukraine with Russian troops. Yeah, I remember. Americans are fighting for Russia. Yeah, convinced this is I'm convinced people this are CIA assets. What? No, dude. No. That's not a CIA asset at all. What are you talking about? That man is just a hog, okay? Pure FDA approved hog. Oh my God, he is Ryan Ruth's nemesis. Dude, you're right. This is the counter to Ryan Ruth. Oh my God, you got to have one on both sides. Oh my God. Listen, I love both sides, okay? I love the Ryan Ruths and I love this guy as well. I mourned his death. Do you understand? I mourned his death. Remember when HasanAbi used to be white? Now he's brown. Which is he? Wait, what? Are you talking about me getting a tan? What the f going on? I think this is what I mean. We don't have time. I talked to, nah, just joking about what Trump said. Oh, okay. Where's that Brazilian guy? Did we unban him or not? I want to hear more from him. Anyway, let's get back to the
Inflation Reduction Act. How those benefited the low and the middle class more so than the top 1%. But now I'll just simply ask you that same question. Can you name one bill that Trump influenced to get passed?
Surprised you aren't being more critical of the libs of debate lord? What are you talking about? I have been very critical of him. I wish he would like take different stances.
That benefited the low and middle class more so than rich people.
I really can't.
So then how could you say that Kamala Harris hasn't done anything when you know so little about what Trump did while he was president?
Because comparatively to what Trump has done in the past, she really hasn't done that much.
I just told you 4 pieces of monumental legislation that she did influence to get passed that were beneficial.
Beneficial, but not quite to what Trump did.
Well, you can't even tell me what Trump did. I asked you. You can.
I know,
tell
but
me.
you can just tell from when he was president that it was way better. And
oh my God, Republicans are so dude. Oh my God.
Almost been high.
Bro, you could convince this dude to eat human. Okay. Read further into his wiki. He was likely by the Russians. They thought he was an American spy. Damn, RIP to a real one. Like, bro, this guy is so like. Sometimes when I hear Republicans speak, I'm like, how are you alive, dude? How are you surviving?
Hiding and probably puppeteering Biden, like, you can't deny that.
Do you see how that's just a conspiracy theory?
I know it's a conspiracy, but the evidence is kind of there.
Okay, so what's the evidence for this idea that Biden hasn't done anything for America?
Sorry. Okay.
That was smooth. You just kind of slid it.
I think a lot of what we're hearing from you right now is just what I call book smart. Like, you probably are more knowledgeable than a lot of us on these policies and all that. That's not necessarily applicable to real life living. If we look at,
bro, they're doing so bad. I've actively started defending them. Like, they're doing so horrifyingly bad that, like, it's frustrating me. Like, what a fantastic way to start your argument, man, by being like, you're pretty smart. I don't know a single damn thing I'm talking about. And let me tell you, I'm still going to tell you stuff. Like, why would you take that L, man? Why would you? I guess it is literally the underlying basis for being a Republican. It's just, yeah, you're book smart, but you know what? I'm a different kind of smart. Not really. I don't know.
In my opinion, one of the most important roles as a president is to keep our country safe. Kamala Harris, she's the border czar, and she has completely failed at that. She's let in millions and millions.
Yeah, own his ass, because he has to take a right-wing stance on the border. Okay? Own his ass, man. Come on, go ahead.
Of legal.
All he's got on this is like, well, Kamala Harris wanted to push a bill, and Trump said no.
Immigrants. And you've been asking us a lot of pointers, so I want to ask you, do you know what the average amount of fentanyl per pound that has come through during Biden's administration versus the Trump administration?
No, I'd assume that it's much higher under the Biden-Harris administration. Do you know what amount of drugs processed across the southern border are processed by U.S. citizens?
But I'm talking about illegals right now. So I asked you a question.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Oh my God. You can't have a conversation with this human. He's barely sentient, dude. He's barely sentient. Why, Republicans, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. 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 What the
Okay. So during Trump's administration, there was on average about 2,500 pounds of fentanyl that came across the border.
Okay.
In my opinion, that's 2,500 pounds too much.
Yeah.
During the
Okay, well, chill. You know, maybe like a couple pounds. You know, it's not so bad.
Biden and Harris administration, it's exceeding 14,000 pounds.
What's funny about this is that like he just saw that one talking point existing in space and thought, oh, I'll use this to own my ass co-workers who are just as I am, right? And I suspect he used it on like one libtard co-worker of his, you know what I mean? He just like dropped that in there, and now he thinks like, oh, I'm gonna do it again. The problem is you have not even scratched the surface of this conversation, because that's just a singular fact. If your argument is undocumented immigration is causing fentanyl to come into the United States of America, then you at least have to understand how drug trafficking works. This is why I constantly talk about how, and Spider Lib was going to bring that up as well, that 90% of the drugs apprehended at the border are apprehended at the regular points of entry, okay? And it's almost always American citizens, okay? 90% of the people that are trafficking drugs at the U.S.-Mexico border, or all borders as a matter of fact, are American citizens, okay? That's it. That's it. So it doesn't matter if there was more American citizens trafficking fentanyl under the Biden administration versus more American citizens trafficking fentanyl under the Trump administration. If the argument is on the basis of like immigrants doing this, then you're just fundamentally wrong.
Per year. Where do you think that's going? That's going to our youth. That's going to high schoolers, college students. That's going to adults. These innocent people are dying because of what is happening. And if you look at her, I think it was just this past month, they just admitted that they have lost over 300,000.
I got a silver alert. I got a silver alert. Okay, chill out, bro. Jesus Christ. Silver alert, missing endangered adult. Scared the out of me, bro. Jesus Christ. No, not an amber alert. Silver alert. Mark said, it's me. Wait, what? It's been deactivated already. What the? It's done. I looked at it. They found her 4 minutes ago. Because when you get the alert, you click on a link and it takes you to the CHP link, California Highway Patrol. And then I looked at the Twitter account of CHP alerts, and 4 minutes ago, the silver alert has been deactivated. The subject has been located. I feel like I did it. I feel like I played a role, man. I feel like I did that. You know, we all did, actually. We all participated in this.
And illegal children. Where do you think these children are going? They're trafficked. And I'm extremely passionate about human trafficking. I think it's one of the most important focuses that we need to have right now. And in my opinion, again, and in my experience within human trafficking, the conservatives are the ones pushing this. Kamala's ignoring it. Kamala's not.
How does the liberal guy know about that and about fentanyl crossings, but keeps defending Harris's policies on the border? Because he's a liberal and he wants to win the debate, and he thinks like hypocrisy baiting is a good way to win debates.
Not the one going to visit the border. She went and visited the border. She went to the only part of the border that is safe, that they're not coming through. And she said, we don't have a problem here. Nobody's coming through. That's BS. She's lying, and you say Trump's lie. I hate all kinds of lies. But when you can say Trump's an avid liar, you got to look at how Kamala's lying. During her speech at the DNC last week, she was saying that those individuals at January 6th were armed individuals with an intention of shooting people in the Capitol. That is not true. So I can admit where Trump has lied in the past. Everybody lies. That's not good. But you also need to have the balls to admit where Kamala has lied, where Biden has lied, where their administration has lied.
Yeah. So first of all, I think that it is important to hold all politicians, everybody in a position of power, accountable. I'm not going to sit here and say that Biden has never lied a day in his life. I'm not going to sit here and say that Harris has never lied a day in his life. I, can't confirm that Harris said that at the DNC or said that at the southern border.
It was filmed.
But if she did say those things, yes, those would be lies. Now, you want to talk about this.
Wouldn't that be a question of her character then?
Yeah, of course. But what I'm voting for here isn't going to be the candidate that doesn't lie at all. It's going to be the candidate that would lie less within this respect, and no one lies more than Donald Trump.
So
now,
why
back
do
to
you
our
believe
conversation.
that? Why do you believe that character affects somebody's, I guess, impact as a leader?
Yeah, sure. Because I think when we're voting for someone, when we have a leader, right, this isn't just someone who's going to try to impact our lives in good ways through policy, but it's also someone that we'd want to be ourselves.
Dude, what the is going on, man? I just, oh God, this. I want to skip the character one. I feel like it's boring. I just don't. Like, I don't even care about Spider-Man's take on it. Because it's just like, who cares, man? Yeah, okay, Kamala Harris is a virtuous person. Like, she's not, but who gives it? Leave this old guy on for a while. He's pleasant to look at.
We are championing these two people, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. We want to see virtues reflected in them that we would also like reflected in us. And when we're platforming Donald Trump, who's been held civilly liable for sexual abuse, has sexualized a 5th grader on CBS in 1992, has cheated on 3 of his wives, 1 with a porn star, and was convicted of 34 felonies, and tried to stage a coup to overthrow our government, we don't see those good virtues reflected. You said you wanted to talk about the border. Do you mind if I ask you a question about that?
Go for it.
Phenomenal. So Biden and Harris, they attempted to influence bipartisan border legislation in 2023. It was Lankford's bill, who was also Trump endorsed. This was a good border act. It would have phenomenally reduced the impact of the crisis. It's
got 7.8 million views.
Would have reduced crossings. It would have made the asylum-seeking processes quicker.
6 days.
It was a good bill. But what happened was Trump called the Republicans in the House and the Senate and told them to vote against it. How can you say that Donald Trump cares about the southern border when he told Republicans in Congress to vote against this bill so the crisis would continue, and he could campaign on that today to convince people like you to vote for him?
Real quick, everybody. So, during Trump's administration, in exchange for $25 million to build a border wall that would protect our country, he had an act that he wanted to pass that would allow illegal immigrant children that have graduated throughout high school to be accepted through citizenship.
Do you mind answering my question?
No, because you're just asking education policy questions. This isn't impacting America. So compared to your...
how else do...
Typical boring debate bro shit. Doesn't matter if he's right. There's 20 people in this room that he doesn't convince with the truth. They just hate him. No, but that doesn't matter. When you debate someone, you're not debating the person to convince the person you're debating. You're debating to convince people that are watching. Okay? But this is just like kind of boring in general because the prompt is boring. Or rather, it's not that the prompt is boring. Kamala Harris would be a much better president than Donald Trump is a good prompt. The issue here is that they're talking about her like moral character or whatever. You know what I mean?
Education throughout high school to be accepted through citizenship.
Do you mind answering my question?
No, because you're just asking education policy questions. This isn't impacting America. So compared to your...
how else do presidents impact America apart from policy and executive
orders? So Trump
orders?
wanted to pass this law that would give these graduating illegal immigrants citizenship. Guess who shut it down? The Biden and Harris administration.
How?
They voted against it.
The Biden and Harris administration?
Yes.
Bro in the red did a suck-ass job, dude.
Hello.
Howdy, welcome back.
Well, okay, so you keep bringing up the border and you keep bringing up the Senate bill.
Lankford's bill, absolutely.
The Senate bill never passed.
You want to know why?
What did pass was H.R. 2, which again has been sitting on Schumer's desk, which actually closed the border. Talking to Brandon Judd, president of Border Patrol, what I can tell you is the Senate bill was better than what it is now with 14,000 people coming through.
Guys, you're saying same 3 people, but what you're failing to recognize is she's met with Trump 3 times at his house. How many times have you gone to Trump's house? That's right. I didn't think so. Okay? Someone in the chat said 4. Chill, bro. Okay? It's not flex time.
Through the border every day and 300,000 migrant children missing, feared, sold into sex slavery. Now, H.R. 2 did close the border, and that is the one that actually passed the House that Schumer has ignored. So I'm really sick of hearing, oh, Trump stopped the Senate bill. The Senate bill didn't pass.
You know why?
Because it was a bad bill. It codified the invasion.
Okay, so first of all, no, it was not a bad bill. And second of all, the reason it didn't pass is because Trump called the Republicans in Congress and told them not to pass it.
It was a bad bill, but not in the way either of these people think it is. So what does codify the invasion mean? Like, what are you saying? I live in Mar-a-Lago. Okay, everybody stop flexing. We get it. You're piping Trump, okay? She only got to hit 3.
It. Right, we see what's like. Do you mind if I finish without interruption?
Congress does not vote on Senate bills.
Yes, we would see that Senate. Like if a bill is made in the Senate, it'd go to the House, back to the Senate.
Exactly, and it never made it out of the Senate, so therefore it's mute and void.
It went to the House, right? And
no, it never made it out of the Senate. I talked to Senator Mike Lee about that. It never got out of the Senate because it was a bad bill. However,
do you mind if I finish here? Though I just want to.
HR 2 did get out.
Do you mind if I finish?
HR 2 did get out of the House.
And with all due respect,
with all due respect, you don't want to hear about HR2 that actually secured the election.
I would love to hear about HR2. However, I would also like to finish what I was saying about.
Well, everybody's heard for the last 19 minutes what you had to say about this. Okay, I got a minute. As far as Kamala Harris being better than Trump, she's destroyed the border. She's been absent. Nobody knows where she is. 6 months ago, even the media was saying she was the worst vice president in history. As far
How
as
has she destroyed the border?
She hasn't done anything about it. They have walked away. She hasn't gone there. She hasn't talked to Border Patrol. She hasn't met with Border
Patrol. Okay, well, I'm confused because the last person.
It's so funny. They're just like, this is, if you're wondering why Donald Trump goes and like talks to the Border Patrol, it's because that's the median voter. Okay, that's the Trump voter. They're like, oh, he went to the border and talked to the Border Patrol. Like, he's doing his job. Like, that's why these guys do all the optics. I always wonder, like, who gives a, like, who the is this optics for? Turns out it's for these guys. Kamala Harris never went to the border. Trump went to the border 3 times, which is also the amount of times I've been to his house and seen his bedroom. You understand me? I'm saying I had sex with Trump. It was awesome.
That came up said that she had gone there. Now you're saying that she has.
An hour from San Antonio after she met with Lester Holt, and Lester Holt said, you haven't been to the border? She goes, I haven't been to Europe either.
So that was in September of 2021?
You know, that.
These are like such idiotic, aesthetic focused conversations. Just turn around and tell her she went to Guatemala. If you hate migrants that much, spider lib, just tell her Kamala Harris literally flew to Guatemala and told the immigrants there to not come to the United States of America. She crossed the border. Donald Trump's too afraid to leave the country, okay? Kamala Harris literally straight up stared down those scary Guatemalan migrants and directly told to their faces not to come to the United States of America. Okay, so if you're going to argue on like reactionary anti-immigrant sentiment, you could do a better job than this as well. Okay, she's like, oh, she never went to the border. It's like, yeah, who gives a man? Oh my God, Republicans are so. I like that they're arguing on aesthetics because both sides are in agreement that immigrants present a genuine national security threat. I don't even think he believes that, by the way. He knows the data. He knows the facts. He knows that that's not the truth, but he's still seemingly arguing from that position for some reason. God, I hate American politics so much sometimes. This is one of those moments. Difference between immigrants and illegal aliens. Yeah, what's the difference? It's called paperwork. Shut the f up. Literally just paperwork. You don't even know how to spell illegal. I'd much rather have a Guatemalan migrant in here than something like you, okay? You don't understand, brother, the difference between immigrants and illegal aliens. Okay, give them paperwork. Now they're legal. What now? Do you think the Haitians in Springfield are illegal aliens? Do you? Answer my question. I'm going to give him some time to process that information. It's going to take a while for him. This is like a John Fetterman style situation. It's going to take like a couple minutes for him to like reboot. We'll wait.
That's who we're talking about.
So that was in June of 2021. She went in July of 2021. I would like to preface here that the Biden administration has passed an executive order on the border, and today
because it's an election
Trump's term. And no, it's not just because it's an election term. They tried to influence Langford's bill through the Senate.
It was a bad bill.
Then Trump called them and told them to shoot it down.
It never left the Senate.
If you were starving,
it never left the Senate.
1 second, ma'am. If you were
no, you 1 second. We got 6 seconds. We're not gonna.
Okay, I feel like I can't get anywhere with you.
Well, I feel like.
So annoying. Shut the f up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Her position is just like trying to overwhelm and overpower her opponent. That's all she's got. She got nothing. So she's just chirping, dude.
Like I can't get anywhere with you because you.
So how do we find middle ground? We do that by allowing each other to speak without interruption.
Damn, he said the title. When your favorite actor says the title of the movie. I guess this isn't technically middle ground. Title card. Middle ground.
Willing to do that for you? Are you willing to do that for me?
Super fun.
My next claim is conservatives don't actually care about family values.
Come on. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Also, another like incredibly unproductive conversation, but at least this will be somewhat entertaining, I think, because like they don't. Okay, there's so many avenues of attack here. If you cared about family values, you would not be leading in child abandonment when you find out that your son is like queer or when your daughter is trans. If they cared about family values, they wouldn't advocate to take away women's reproductive rights. they cared about family values, they wouldn't vote for Donald Trump, who is a serial adulterer and a convicted, well, not but civilly convicted sexual assaulter.
So I don't agree with that at all whatsoever. Us conservatives, our issue is caring about family, keeping the family unit together.
Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
So then why do you turn around and champion Donald Trump, who's cheated on 3 of his wives, one with a porn star, and has ongoing civil litigation against him in which he was determined that he was guilty of sexual abuse?
And that's something that's very personal, and you have to have been there in order to know what exactly goes on. Marriages are...
But he did. Like, what do you mean? What? You had to have been there. I was there. I was Trump's penis. I was there. I saw it. I was there. I'm Stormy Daniels. I was there. I'm in the cuck chair. Damn, bro. He destroyed his argument, by the way. You had to have been there, brother. That's sick. That's a sick counter, dude. It's like, what do? You fold. You fold. It's like, it's basically intellectually on the same wavelength as doing the worm. You have no choice but to fold.
Very tough. There's something that's very difficult. And again, it's...
Yeah, Trump's marriages were difficult. That's why he did it 3 times. And also cheated on his wives. It was difficult for the wives, man.
We don't know what happened, you know. Yeah, he has failed marriages, but many people have failed marriages.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask you another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you said that you really care about the family unit.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I don't see how like any conservative or Trump supporter could say that they care about the family unit because of how hard y'all fight for pro-life legislation. So voting for pro-life legislation without good reason, what this leads to is the destruction of the family unit. You're shifting the American focus away from financially well-off adults that consent to start a family, that desire to have kids, to forcing 18, 19, 20-year-old boys and girls into starting a family because the state isn't allowing the woman the access to health care that she deserves. It leads to higher rates of poverty, it leads to lower rates of employment, lower rates of education, and lower qualities of life, all things considered. Another point would be, right, conservative stance on being anti-IVF, right? I think that IVF serves as a savior for family units.
They're going to be like, oh, conservatives love IVF harder than the HasanAbi heads love the top of the hour ad break because they're already all subscribed for $4.20 or for free with a Twitch Prime, brother.
That are wanted to be by many of American citizens.
Your first point of being for pro-life is that is a human.
Yeah, I mean, this argument also has a really effective counter. He like took the worst possible position on being pro-life. Like, you don't have to talk about abortion like it's a, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's like optically the best possible argument to make in terms of like abortion being used as like a family planning mechanism, especially when you're in a room full of conservatives. I think the much easier way to advocate for abortion would be, you know, the things that Republicans also agree are the obvious exceptions.
Life, that is a child in and of itself. I always hear constantly the argument of, you know,
Nancy Pelosi's calcium cannons. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
If men were the ones having babies, then it would be a different situation, maybe. But that's not the case. The case is that women are the ones that bear children, and that is a life unto itself. And therefore, it is deserving of its own human rights and its own human life. And you brought up many points, which can you repeat for me so I can?
Yeah, of course. If you feel free to like, you know, cut me off if I'm talking too fast, or if you want me to slow down.
Yeah, of course.
These points. You know, I want to make sure that we could try to have.
Me too.
Imagine fighting for a year to have a child through IVF, but then the kid grows up and he becomes this guy. This is why I'm against IVF. Me too, brother. I'm an anti-natalist. Every time I hear a conservative speak, I'm like, no. And not even for like the philosophical reasons of like, you have no guarantee that the life that you bring into the world is not going to suffer or whatever. I'm talking specifically because like there is a non-zero chance that they're going to become a Republican. You should not have children. You seriously don't want kids? No, I'm joking, man. I'm not actually an anti-natalist.
My other points were being anti-IVF. I think that IVF allows, right, American citizens to start a family when they wouldn't otherwise be able to. Being anti-IVF prevents them from starting a family. Another point would be being anti-LGBTQ+, saying that you care about family values unless it's 2 men or unless it's 2 women, and then it's morally abominable. And then, yeah, the third point would be just championing Donald Trump, who's cheated on 3 of his wives, one with a porn star, has sexualized little girls, and has been held civilly liable for sexual abuse.
Sure. So on one hand, I kind of agree with you because I don't think that the average conservative cares about family enough, but I would say that conservatives care a lot more about the family unit.
Canadian spotted, opinion discarded. Sorry. Nope.
Also, Trump
Not gonna
endorsed.
do that today.
This was a good border
Go
act.
back to your own
it would
country.
have phenomenally reduced the impact
Okay.
of the crisis.
Get the hell out of here with this. Yeah, back to Alberta with you. What do you mean? Go make Alberta, Texas. Okay. Build a wall. Lauren Northern.
Then liberals and then people on the left, especially, like it was brought up when it comes to the pro-life issue, when it comes to promoting the whole LGBT, like all of these things are generally anti-family, and liberals are also generally very individualistic, while conservatives have always been more on the side of conserving the family unit.
Okay, I would strongly disagree that liberals are going to be more individualistic. I mean, like, you know, if we just look at Trump and the policy he passed while he was president, can you name one policy he influenced to get passed that benefited the low or the middle class more so than the top 1%?
I don't know when I'm speaking about individualistic on the terms of economics, yes.
Oh my God, these people are so. This is like not even a dude. These people are too to have an argument with. It sucks.
Yes, I would say conservatives are more individualistic, as in we're not socialists, we're not wanting to redistribute wealth. Yes.
Socialist. Do you know, real quick, can you define socialism for me?
When I'm speaking about socialism, I'm talking about the redistribution of wealth and like promoting the welfare system.
Okay, so I mean, socialism like is just a mode of production, so it just has to do with the workers owning the means of production. The only reason like I'm pointing this out is because
Dog, he doesn't understand a single word you just said. Okay, I'm sorry. Like, if you think that thing in front of you registered a single thing that just came out of your mouth, you are even more delusional than she is. Okay, like, bro, these people, oh my god, dude, she's like, oh, these socialistic policies.
I feel like MAGA, Republicans, conservatives as a whole have really misconstrued socialism, communism, etc. But
you have an easier time explaining the labor theory of value to a hamster than that person. Okay, you are out of your dang mind. This person is not registering anything, okay? Like, not even a little bit.
One last question for you here. You said that promoting the LGBTQ plus community is anti-family. How so?
Because, for instance, I mean, conservatives and people on the right have more. Okay.
Sorry. Hello, sir. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you too. You've been excited to come up here.
Yeah, no, this one. I think this one's interesting. So first, I also wanted to know why you think Democrats are better at supporting family values than conservatives.
Of course, great question. So first of all, we look at this from like an economic perspective.
Sure.
I'd say caring for the low and the middle class, promoting like social benefits. A good example would be the child tax credit. Kamala Harris wants to raise that to $6,000 for every newborn to a 1-year-old.
They're going to vote me out soon. I'm going to make my point, then they're going to vote.
You're watching a guy who debates people professionally against 20 average Joes off the street. No, some of them are like actual conservative speakers and shit, but they're brilliant minds.
Vote me out, I'm going to go. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. I think what's really interesting, and I wanted you to bring it up, but I'm just going to bring it up again. You were talking about when to start a family. I think that's really interesting. I think the choice to start a family is when you have sex. Personally, and you know, someone will probably be more informational than me about this, but I think that having sex is when you take that risk, if you want to call it that, take that risk of starting a family. It's your responsibility to become a parent, become a father or a mother.
The blonde girl who's up there as a conservative influencer does on the street shit for Rebel Media. Okay, so I did clock her for being Canadian. I stand here as your champion. I clocked that. I clocked it. I mean, I didn't know she was a Rebel Media op, but it's funny though to think that they're like, this is the best of the conservative mind trust. That's great.
And I think I forgot what it was. IVF, is that what you said? That helps. Is that help with abortion? Is that correct?
No, IVF.
Okay, I'm done. No, I can't do this anymore. This is idiotic. Okay, sorry. No, this guy said, does IVF help with abortion? No, I'm done. I'm done, brother. Ain't no way I'm watching the rest of this video. I'm done. Shouts out to Drew Pavlo, another idiot, by the way. Here it is, who also believed the Zin thing. Jesus